You're listening to the House of Cards on the Big Patriot Radio Network, brought to you by F1 Mechanical. All music has been paid for under applicable licenses and is the property of Big Patriot Radio. All subjects and topics may not be the opinions of or made by the show's host and or producers. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Good afternoon, everybody. It is Beaufort County's House of Cards. I'm Mike Covert. This is a special edition of the Beaufort County's House of Cards here on the Big Patriot Radio Network. Also, we are on live with Facebook, 2 channels on Facebook, on YouTube. Check us out on our YouTube channel. Just search for Beaufort County's House of Cards. And also, this show won't be streaming, but normally we're streaming live simulcast over at bigpatriotradio.com. Today's show going to be aired this evening, which is Monday. I'm sorry, going to be aired Tuesday. Let's do that. Going to be Tuesday and Thursday, sometime Thursday afternoon. And we may squeeze one more in there. We're going to talk, have a guest on today. Very busy fella, a good friend of the show, and candidate for South Carolina House seat 118. He is the current House representative. Mr. Bill Herbkersman is going to be here, and we'll talk to him shortly. First off, though, as you saw in the title, we have some kabooms going around from not only the campaign trails, but also the Middle East. So you might, if you haven't been paying attention, pay attention to that. As this past Friday, Israel finally decided to come around and repay Iran for their attack some multiple weeks ago. Is it me, or is this the first time where we announce, we being anybody, any of these countries, pick one, we announce ahead of time that we're going to do something when we feel like it, and sit there and decide what we're going to do, and then on a surprise, unless it's leaked, which this one was, go ahead and make the. I mean, what happened to the days of, you bomb this one and then now he goes and bombs you back? Now we want to choreograph it. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just old school, but it just seems like a strange way of fighting, wars or whatever. But anyway, so Israel lobbied, they sent out several F-35s, several dozen, from what we're understanding, F-35s across Syria and into Iraq, and then eventually took out several military sites of Iran. I would think that, having been in the Middle East, having been there, done that Iran pretty much got kind of pissed off about it. I'm surprised they haven't done anything yet. I'm quite sure they would, because let's be quite frank about this. If Iran doesn't, they are going to be considered as the little bitch of Israel. I mean, that's just how it works over there. Everybody in the Arab world has this extreme hatred for Israel and Israel's allies, including us. And I fully anticipate something happening sooner rather than later. So kabooms happening here around the campaign trail. What we've noticed over the last week, ever since really the last show, probably the biggest thing is that we got a call from several. Now it's been 4 different people who sent a photo and a complaint of the candidate actually running against Bill Herbkersman, Charity Owens. She's the Democrat socialist running for that seat at the polls. I mean, she was standing directly outside the poll. If I can find the picture, I'll put it up. I'm sure I've got it here somewhere. But anyway, she was standing outside the poll on Ulmer Road. and directly outside the door, and was campaigning. Now, yeah, someone had pointed out to me that that is not illegal. You can stand outside the door as long as you're not giving out literature, you're not harassing people. I mean, there's a lot of ambiguity, I guess is a good way to put it. And people can say, well, that's not harassing, and other people's can. So I don't know. The 500-foot rule is what I always adhered to. I would never go onto a poll site, poll property. I would always stay clear of that. On the edge of it, that's fine. But anything less than that is very distasteful, in my opinion. Some people still take it as very private, and that's completely acceptable. Voting should be in private and read or counted in public. So anyway, Miss Owens was standing outside the Ulmer Road polling facility and talking to residents. 2 of the 4 said she handed out palm cards. That is a violation, in my opinion. Now, no one has asked for it, but I'm giving it. That's my opinion. Some folks have really gotten their taters out of whack on this, and I understand it. I'm not saying Mr. Herbkersman has, because I haven't talked to him about it. I know he knows about it, but I think most people that understand politics and how this thing works were a little taken back that, again, someone like a Democrat socialist is going to these extremes to circumvent the rules. So that's one thing that is out there, just lingering around, if you will. There we go. And this is a picture of a picture. I put this up on a reel on Facebook the other day. And you can see here is the Ulmer Road facility. And this is Ms. Owens standing outside of there. No, I do not see the palm cards here. You see a vote today here. This is right outside, if you're familiar with it, of the Ulmer Road facility. Even case in point, it's just very highly susceptible to complaints. And we'll just leave it at that. I personally think this is in poor taste. But it is what it is. And we'll move forward as we get closer to Election Day come November 5th.
Locked and loaded. Let's go. Big Patriot Radio. Blues, news, country pop, and classic rock.
And I want to remind everybody that on Election Day, we are having the F1 Mechanical Election Night Show. F1 Mechanical Election Night Show. That is coming on Election Day from the folks at F1 Mechanical. You see them right there. And let's pause for about 30 seconds for the folks at F1 Mechanical. You know, if your home's heating and cooling system is working properly, safely, and efficiently, call F1 Mechanical in Hilton Head, Bluffton, and Beaufort, South Carolina, as well as Greater Charlotte, North Carolina, for immediate service or inspection. Don't wait weeks. Call 843-284-9156. 284-9156 today. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's F1 Mechanical, 843-284-9156. Call now, and all customers with gas furnaces will get a free combustion air test. All right, there you go. And again, F1 Mechanical, those folks are the presenting sponsor for this year's Election Night Show. F1 Mechanical, I want to thank those folks over there at F1 Mechanical, whether you're in Charlotte or Beaufort, Hilton Head, Savannah, Bluffton, Hardyville, Orangeburg, wherever you are, Gaston, North Carolina, Lake Norman, they're all over the place. Call F1 Mechanical. Again, their number's right there, 843-284-9156. That's 284-9156. They will take care of you. And again, that's coming up on election night. We'll start the show at about 6:45, and we're going to go until there's really nowhere else to go. I'll be covering things from right here in the studio. Corey Allen of the Overton Report is going to be co-host number one. He is going to be coming in so far, we think, from Washington, D.C. No matter who wins the federal election, it is highly possible that some things may happen in Washington, and we want to be right there, and Corey's going to have that firsthand. As well as Corey in Washington, our friend Andrew Southwick is going to be at his studios in Florida. So we're going to be covering South Carolina politics. We're going to be covering Florida politics. We're going to be covering local, state, regional, national, all kinds of things are going to be going on. We're going to have many of our candidates that hopefully we believe all they will win, the ones that we are backing and have put, it's like a horse race. We got our money on this one and this one and this one. Anyway, they're going to be calling in or coming on live from their victory parties sometime during the night. Nothing scheduled. It's very laid back, and we want them to enjoy themselves. Spoke to just about all of them. Nancy Mace, we're working on right now, trying to pin some things down. Obviously, when you get to a congressional level, that is a little bit harder. We've also reached out to President Trump's campaign. Needless to say, that's even harder trying to get someone to commit to that. We certainly don't expect President Trump to come on, but we have asked for someone in his circle to possibly come on. I will say this: we don't expect the presidential election to be called probably until Thursday or Friday. If I have to really, be honest about it, with all things considered, I doubt it'll happen until then. So we'll take that as it comes. And again, that is next Tuesday, the 5th. Now, this Thursday, there will be no, that's Halloween. There will be no House of Cards. We're going to replay this show during the House of Cards time slot. We'll also play, we've got on Halloween night, we've got the best Halloween scary sounds and everything you want to play outside of your house. We're going to do it from like 7:15 to 8:15. We'll play this show, and then we'll do it again from, I believe it's like 8:30 to 9:30, and that's subject to change. Just hang in there and watch your feeds on Twitter or X or Facebook, wherever else we send stuff out, our website, whatever. And we'll have all those times and so forth on there for you. So we've also, last week on the show, we talked about, all the different races. We've had everyone from the delegation that we could get in touch with, as long as they weren't too busy. We've had them on. We've had people from outside of this county, like the sheriff over in Jasper County. Last week, we gave you all of our picks. We're picking State Representative Shannon Erickson to repeat in her district race. She is the education chair of the House of Representatives in Columbia. Tom Davis, Senator, District 46. He is the chair of the State Senate LCI Committee. We picked him to repeat. Weston Newton. He is the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. We're picking him to win again. Jeff Bradley, he is the chair of not only the Rules Committee, but also the chairman of the House AI and Cybersecurity Committee, brand new committee, just if happening. And he's vice chair of the Education Committee. We're picking Chip Campson, senator up in the Charleston district, Charleston area, also has a piece of Beaufort County, and probably a little bit of Colleton County, I believe. He is the chairman of the House the Senate Fish and Wildlife Committee. You see and we're picking Shelley Gay Uhas to beat the incumbent Democrat Michael Rivers, and he's in like the Sea Island, St. Helena area, over in that area of the county. We're picking her to beat him in that race. You see the overwhelming commonality with our House and Senate delegation is that experience. They're all chairmen or chairwomen of very high-end committees. I mean, this isn't the janitorial committee. We've got House members that are arguably the top two of the top three committees or top four committees. We've got the chairwomen of them right here in Beaufort and Jasper counties. Now, what you don't know about Bill Herbkersman, he is going to be named the chairman of the House LCI, or Labor, Commerce and Industry Committee. He's already the he's already the subcommittee chair for the Ways and Means budget, which is enormous. And now he's going to be chairman of the House LCI, which is a sister or brotherhood of the Senate LCI, also chaired by Beaufort County and Jasper County's Tom Davis. So we have quite the gosh, I don't even know how to word this, the power, and I don't like using that word, but the influence, that's the better phrase. We have the influence in Columbia that we haven't had here in Beaufort County for, it's been quite some time. And now we have it. This is one of the things I've been saying as we interview all these delegation folks, is that, ladies and gentlemen, thousands of you watch every week. Do you see where Beaufort County is right now? This is not the time to replace those that have the influence that's necessary for you and me. Now's not the time to replace that influence with people who have either A, no experience, B, no work-related experience, and C, zero. None of them have zero influence because they have no background in this. It would be like trying to become the chairperson, even a sitting member of the janitorial mopping committee, let alone something like the judiciary or education or Ways and Means or whatever. This is not the time for that. This is not the time for that. So we've also, in the Jasper County Sheriff's race, Chris Malfris. He is an excellent, I can't say too much about him. Jasper County, you, just like Beaufort County, you've got problems in as far as law enforcement, crime, murder, drugs, trafficking. You need to do something about it, and that starts with Chris Malfris. He is a proven leader. You need to get him back in office. Let's see what else. In Beaufort County, in County Council District 7, my former council before realignment, I served in that role. Logan Cunningham is going up for reelection, and we pick him. We believe he will do it again. And this is important to know. His opponent, Sarah McCarty, who seems like a fantastic gal running on the Democrat side, her husband, whose name is David Carr, is because there's no other opponent, he is going to win the school board seat for District 7. Now, they don't share the same last name. He's a Carr, she's a McCarty. She's running for county council. If she were to win, say that were to happen, you would have a husband and a wife, pillow politics, county council, and school board in the same address. That to me is ethically questionable. Why is that? Well, because first of all, just because it is what it is, pillow politics. We talked about this back when Sheriff Tanner's wife was running for the solicitor, that the solicitor and the sheriff sharing the same address, pillow politics just doesn't work there. It doesn't work here either. The county council is the one who, approves the budget and the millage rate coming out of the school board and the school system. Now, I said this a week or two ago or whatever, and someone said, no, the county council approved for them to have autonomy, fiscal autonomy. Well, that's not through yet. That still has to go to the state. And my sources tell me that the delegation will not agree to that. Anything's liable to change. Don't get me wrong. That happens all the time. I just don't see that happening. And if that doesn't happen, I see that as a problem. I see that as that's not a red herring. That is a huge canary in the coal mine, if you will, of problems. And it should be addressed. And unfortunately, I don't know why this didn't come out. I spoke with via text to Mr. Cunningham, who said that he heard about it but didn't know if it was true. Personally, I would have found out about that had that been me, and be it true, I would have done the necessary due diligence to make sure that either was ended or what have you. Anyway, what else? What other campaigns? The rest of county council, District 1, Gerald Dawson has two opponents. One is a Republican, Adam Beery. That's who we're picking on that. And then Javon, and I can't believe this, but I forgot her last name. Wonderful young lady. She is on a different party ticket. I'm sorry, she's on a write-in. She is also running. Adam Beery has been doing all the right things. He's been meeting with people. Unfortunately, Gerald Dawson is a great guy, fantastic fellow. He's not doing that. He didn't do that until we pushed him, and others have been pushing him. And now all of a sudden he wants to meet with everybody and talk. My only problem with Adam, and I spoke to him about this, I said, hey, I want to make sure you understand, you be you. You do you, boo. Don't depend on the influence from large financial backers, if there are any. Don't listen to them and don't feed off of their threats, should that happen. You be you. You work for the people, not for the special interests, not for the government, not for a financial donor. District 3, York Glover started serving when I did. He has a candidate, or an opponent rather, came in late because of the political turmoil that's going on over in St. Helena Island. Willie Terrell came on the show. We were the ones he picked to be able to announce his running. And yes, when Willie did the auditor thing a couple years ago, we were hard on him. I was extremely hard on him, and don't deny that, and we'll stand by it. But he had seen enough out of St. Helena, and a lack of from York Glover, who again, fine fella, love him like a brother. But the people of St. Helena Island are tired. They're tired of the murder, the shootings. They're tired of the representation. Here's a good example. We talked about this last week with all of the delegation members that we've had on. By the way, our guest is in the green room right now. We'll get to him here in just a minute. But our delegation, gets input from these county council members. They are doing the job in Columbia, bringing the dollars back here. What does York Glover do? He doesn't do anything. St. Helena Island proper got about $50,000. That's embarrassing. York Glover should be highly embarrassed that more didn't happen. Well, I think that and some other things may have been the catalyst to get Mr. Terrell to decide, hey, this is a long shot. I'm going to go ahead and do a write-in thing, which is an uphill battle. It couldn't be any harder. But he's taking him on. He has, he told us here on live on the air that he, his people, his community, which not only is St. Helena Island, but it's also downtown Beaufort, a piece of that. bits and pieces. It's pretty well cut up over there, but they've had enough. They've had enough of having enough. Their representation is nil. When I was on county council, York needed someone with outside north of the Broad influence to help him get something accomplished, and that was the Gullah Farmers Co-op. Now, he and I chatted, and his way of life, farming and so forth, that is the furthest thing from my life in Bluffton. We've got some land, but we're not farmers. I don't have family that's been here for, hundreds of years. Life here and life there is completely polar opposite. York doesn't deal with traffic like we do. 10 to 2 between April and October, you don't drive on the roads around here unless you want to sit for a while. That's not the same over there. So he and I worked together. We got the Gullah Farmers Co-op pushed, got it through, got it funded, and it became a thing. It got people who live there to stay there and work there. That's a problem they have on St. Helena, is that the youth that grow up, they move away because there's nothing there. There's nothing there for them. So that, York had a great opportunity, and that was a win, but then it stopped. Something happened. Don't know what it is, but something stopped, and we have somebody over there that's decided to pick up the ball. Anyway, that is the majority of, the county council, the delegation races here in Beaufort County. We talked about Jasper County Sheriff. We went up and down the last week. We talked about Duke Buckner. That would be probably the shock of the election night if he was to take out Jim Clyburn. He's been there since Washington left, the 6th congressional district, one of the poorest, most left behind districts in the state. It's time for new blood there. So anyway, all of that's going to be coming up again. Election night, when we have the F1 Mechanical election night show, you're going to tune in 6:45 until the coffee goes away and there's nothing else to talk about. That will be on election night.
Everything that rocks is right here. Right here.
That's rock.
With Big Patriot Radio.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right. We are going to be bringing in our guest. Now, our guest has been serving in the House here in South Carolina since 2002. Just like the other House members we've been talking about and our local Senator Tom Davis, working his way up, working his way through the House. He's been involved in the budget process, the House Ways and Means. Again, arguably one of the top 3. I mean, they're all important, but you get an important one, and then you have a friggin' real important. The budget, that's pretty damn important. Anyway, he's going to be named the chairman of the, the House LCI. That is the Labor, Commerce, and Industry Committee when they start the session here in January. Please join me in welcoming Bill Herbkersman to the show. Bill.
I like the applause.
Hey, well, I had to bring those folks in, and
Right, yeah.
we spare no expense. Bill Herbkersman, how are you?
I am doing well. Thanks for having me, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing really good, really good. Glad to have you on here. You are a busy man, but you've got it's your own show. This is your own show, so we're really glad to have you on here. We're down to the wire. Before we get into talking about what's going on with the campaign and where you've been, what you've been doing, how has is there an off season for the delegation, or do you guys and gals, are you harder at it now than when session's in?
It's when we're in session, it's definitely 40 to 50 hours a week plus what you have to do at home. When we're back here, it's about the same. It's just a little bit reversed. I think we still work 40 hours at our regular jobs, and then work 30 hours or so at the representing our people.
Awesome. So you've had you have an opponent I really want to concentrate more on you than your opponent.
Sure.
As I've been saying for weeks and weeks, as we interview your colleagues, that the one thing, and I'll talk about this as we go along, but the one thing that separates all of you from all of the opponents is the word experience. You have been involved in Ways and Means and setting the budget. You're getting ready to take on the chair role, which congratulations, of the LCI. You're going to be a busy. Are you still going to have a role in the Ways and Means?
Well, we'll still have input in the Ways and Means, but but chair and LCI is going to be a whole different animal. It takes so much time up, and really for this area, it's kind of good because it controls, or we vote on anything that's going to happen as far as labor, as you mentioned, labor, commerce, and industry. And man, commerce and industry right now is so needed down here and in the state in general. I mean, we were fighting an uphill battle, but since we've been so good on the budget process, we've really been able to bring some good companies in and take advantage of what we have to offer here in South Carolina.
When you talk about LCI, labor, commerce, and industry, one would think that someone running that show should know a little something about business, about industry, about labor. If anybody, half the people probably are new. We've got thousands that watch each week. I'm sure half of them, again, probably are new. You've got a background affecting all three of those. If you could tell us a little bit about that.
Mike, I've pretty much always worked for myself. From Columbia, I've been down here about down in the Bluffton, Hilton Head area, close to 45 years. Started out with, believe it or not, a bike store and expanded that into the second largest chain in the Southeast called Cycle Centers. When we sold those and then got kind of into the restaurant business and had 15 restaurants, including W.G. Shuckers, which everybody that's been here for a while knows. We had Dog's Breath Saloon and Hilton Head Brewing Company, Columbia Brewing Company, St. Simon's Brewing Company. We had a Shuckers down in Jacksonville. And those are pretty good. That's a lot of hours and a lot of hard. That's a lot of hours and a lot of hard time away from the family. So sold that and stayed in. And I'd always been somewhat in the development business. So the last project that we completed was the Calhoun Street Promenade, which was a 10-year project. And I'll tell you, Mike, that thing just, we hit it right at the wrong time at the recession, and there's tumbleweeds going through there for a while.
Right.
But it quickly made up for it, and we estimate we employ, I don't know, there's 800 people that work in the promenade.
Wow.
So, if you couple that with the fact that in all the businesses that we've done, I've had over 1,000 employees or been fortunate to have 1,000 good employees. We kind of get what's going on. We kind of get it from the employer and the employee standpoint, what we need to do here in South Carolina to enhance what we have.
Here locally, I guess probably, and this is just a guess, one of the biggest things in your district, my district, and he is my House representative, in case anybody didn't know. Probably one of the biggest things is just down as the way the crow flies. I guess they call that the New River. I don't even know what they call it. It's New River Center, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
At the corner of 170 and 46. I don't know how familiar you are with that, but I mean, what kind of impact is that going to have for people of Pritchardville and Bluffton, and even like Levy, part of Hardyville?
Well, it's going to have a huge impact. I mean, first of all, the employment opportunities are going to be there. But what I've heard from some folks is that it's going to exacerbate the traffic problem. But I don't think it will, Mike. I think you and I both know that when you start bringing the services and the stores and the restaurants and that closer to the people, that's less travel time for them. So I'm really looking forward to having that in there and having a little bit of a traffic alleviation. And I'll tell you what, if you haven't been by there, go by. It has been done right. I mean, they are really putting time and thought into that process.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great, we go, again, it's just, across the street from where I live, and we go over there a lot, and it was excited to see, Refuel. I'm going to call them a Parker's type convenience center. Going to give Greg Parker a run for his money. Competition's good.
Great.
Yeah, a lot of good restaurants. There are townhomes. I call them townhomes, condos, whatever, being built in there. I think that is I think that is a great place for this to go. And you're right. I don't think that's going to exacerbate problems. I think that actually may calm some problems, especially
you're right.
people from New Riverside area being to access that without coming onto the main road. Speaking about roads, the problem, at least from my point of view, is folks coming from Savannah, whether they're Bluffton residents coming back or just folks in Georgia coming here, they use May River Road, where May River Road is a byway, a scenic byway.
Right.
Truck traffic is not supposed to go down May River Road. That should go down 170. I know that's, I don't know if that's a state thing or a county thing, but is there a way to maybe look at that and try to really entice truck traffic to stay off of May River Road and keep it going through 170?
We talked back when Christy Hall was head of DOT, we talked to her about that. And one of the things we came up with is the possibility of lowering that speed limit from, say, Buckwalter to into town, from 45 to 35. And that in itself would force the truck traffic and the commuting traffic to actually take the second route, which in that other route can handle the parkway can handle the additional traffic right now.
Correct. Let's switch channels a little bit, so to speak. And I want to talk about, let's see, I guess it was October 21st, I believe it was, early voting started.
Yeah.
While I'm not a fan of that whole process, it is what it is, and you can either join it or you can stay in the background. So both parties were enticed, hey, get out there and vote. Let's get it going. What is from your 30,000 foot view looking at voter turnout so far?
Oh man,
how's it going,
Mike? I'll tell you, and you're right about that. If we're gonna have it, let's own it. Let's own it. I think from our side, the Republican Party has provided tremendous turnout. This is the best turnout, I think, for early voting we've ever had. And I know there's a lot at stake as you were talking about earlier in the show. I caught most of that. There's a lot we've got a lot at stake here on this. So I think the people are turning out on both sides of the aisle are turning out and just in fantastic numbers. But I got to say our party here has really put it out there for people to get out and vote, and I think they're doing a great job with it. A great job of publicizing it too. Everything that Tom or Weston or I have sent out has had something on there about the early voting, and I know you put it on your show, and I think people are, I think they're thrilled to be able to get down there and not have to wait in line for 2 or 3 hours on election day.
Speaking of putting things on the show, you're aware, and folks, I'm sure, obviously, because I'm getting ready to say it, aware that you have a commercial running on Big Patriot Radio. Yep. I have actually had people say, my God, Mike, all I hear every 10 minutes, it feels like, is about Bill Herbkersman. My response to that is, well, the last thing we want is for you to forget that name when you go to the polls. It's working, sir. It's working.
I've had a lot of calls on it, so you're doing a nice job with that. That's and the radio shows. You're doing a great job with the radio show. It really is fantastic.
Appreciate that. Opponent. Recently, your opponent. I just showed a picture, headed up here of your opponent standing. I don't know if did you get this? I don't know if I shared that with you at all.
I did. I saw. Okay. Yeah.
She was at the polls the other day. I first had one person contact me, and then it was a flood, like 3 people back to back, sending pictures. I put it out there, that this is, hey, this is what's going on. I understand, and I don't profess to be all knowing of the rules. I knew about the 500-foot rule thing.
Right. And
I had a couple Democrats contact me and said, you're wrong. She can stand there all she wants. You just can't proliferate. Well, 2 of the 4 or whatever that called me said that she had palm cards.
Oh, really?
Who makes the definition of harassing or promulgating a vote? Where does that, is that a Howie Knapp thing, or is that a delegation thing? Or what do you do?
It's not so much a delegation thing or Howie Knapp. I think we set the statute on that. We set the rules under the House and Senate rules on what you can do during elections here. And every state is different, but every county should be identical on that. Well, first of all, let me just say, I commend her and thank her for running.
Mhm.
because it's a civic duty to try and you've been in a campaign, you know how hard campaigns are. So I'm glad and welcome her into the fray as far as campaigning. But the fact is, she can go. Anybody can go. Any candidate can go to the polling thing and stand there. But you can't give out paraphernalia. You can't give out vote for me cards or things like that. So that's where the line is drawn. And I don't know that she has or not. She's well within her rights, I think, to be there, just like I could be, or you could be, or whoever. Or you could have someone in your campaign, but there's a fine line on there where you cannot do, and part of that is enticing people to vote for you, or asking for a vote, or giving any kind of a collateral out.
Do you find that let's just say she didn't give out collateral? She's just saying, "Hey, I'm Jane Doe, and vote for me." Do you find that this could be one of those things where it's legal, but it's not right?
Yeah, I mean, it's I've had calls from it too, and I think. I don't know that I mean, you got to make the voters feel comfortable about being there. I mean, we're getting a great turnout, and part of that is the fact that we've got nice places to vote now. We've got enough voting machines. I mean, we actually between Tom and Weston and Shannon and Jeff and I, we voted. We've got more voting machines than any other county because of the growth here, which 5 years ago or 10 years ago we would have had less than anybody else. Right. But we're trying to make it as easy as possible. I just don't, she can run her. I'd never tell her how to run her campaign, but in my campaign, we're not going to do that. We're not going to, we're not going to put pressure on people.
I think that's when I opened the show and started talking about that's pretty much where I come from. I don't think I would want to. Well, I've never done that, and I don't think I would, because that's just, it feels a little slimy. It just feels a little slimy to me. So I don't know. Yeah. Democrats are going to do what they do. Speaking of your opponent, I beat the streets all campaign long for all candidates,
right?
Left, right, center, and some out there in the in the outfield, and only Republicans responded. Matter of fact, I had several people tell me that were some plants, if you would, in the Democrat Party, that these folks were told, stay away from Covert. Whatever you do, stay away from him. So I sent out an invitation to you and to Ms. Owens. I said, and correct me if I'm wrong, I said, hey, I want to do a forum or a debate, something real cool, laid back. If you want to bring your own moderator that's, friends with you, I don't care. We can do it together. I put it out there that, hey, this is going to be something for the people, not a gotcha. And I heard from one, and that's you. Never heard from her.
Well, let me say this again. I would never tell her how to run a campaign, but I'll tell you, first off, I think you've been very fair to everybody. I watched the show. You've been very fair to everybody, regardless of what side of the aisle they're on. The fact that you offered a Democrat moderator, or a moderator that she's comfortable with, I'd have been comfortable with any moderator. And I think we discussed that when I gave you my reply. But I think giving her the option of having her own moderator, I mean, look, Mike, she's probably been in the area 2 or 3 years. I'm not sure. And so there's not a whole lot of people, particularly on our side, that would know her, and they should know a candidate. I mean,
absolutely.
Look, I mean, the questions, I'm sure, we're going to be pretty fair, across the board on that. From my standpoint, I don't see why someone wouldn't come and debate your points, let the people know where you stand and why they should vote for you. It's not fair to, I've done this. I went and, gladly spoke to the Moms Against Gun Violence and things like that, things that are kind of not exactly on our side of the aisle, but those folks they've got to know you. You're still representing them. And that's the most important thing, is if you're going to represent everybody, you've got to be able to communicate with everybody. You've got to be able to talk to everybody. And, some things may get a little uncomfortable, as they always do, but that's just part of the job.
That's right. That's right. So enough about that. I do want to talk a little bit about the delegation as a whole, and your influence, your sphere of influence among that, and with the House. But I did have, as I had entered, last week, you were unable to be here, and that's fine. I had a couple people contact me, got a little bent out of shape with me. So I wanted to, just with full disclosure, Yes, ladies and gentlemen. I ran against Mr. Herbkersman back in, was it 20?
Yeah, yeah, maybe 20. Yeah,
I want they were like, what are you doing? You're a fake. Why are you having him on and you were after it? So let me just clear the air. I was running against Nancy Mace for Congress. Kathy Landing and I, and in February, I think somewhere around there, my team from Nevada doing this is expensive, is to say mildly. It was impossible for me to eclipse Nancy Mace financially in donations. And folks, when you get to that level, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. It was impossible for me to eclipse her. We already had $100,000 or something into this, and they were like, we don't want you to throw money after bad. What do you want to do? Remember, Bill, we were deep in COVID, just started, couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything, and they had said, well, who's this Herbkersman guy? I said, well, he's my state rep. Well, shit, let's go after him. Fine. And so we did, and couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything. And I mean, it was I don't want to say heated, but I mean, that was a pretty good match.
It was a good race.
But at the end of it, and I want people to hear this, because I told you this and I've told others, but I wanted to get out there. Others have said, are you going to run against Herbkersman? Are you going to run against Tom Davis? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? Ladies and gentlemen, I told Bill Herbkersman, and I'm telling you all, and he can hear it, that I have no interest in running against Bill Herbkersman as my state house representative. I don't. When he's ready to retire, I absolutely would love to have that seat and pick up. If I could do half as good a job as he's doing, life would be great. But anyway, I wanted everybody to hear that, Bill, because you and I have had that conversation.
Yeah, well, let me say this too, Mike. Even during the campaign, and it was kind of fun because it got heated, because when you got two guys who think alike, you got to think outside the box to differentiate yourself. Right. But what I can say is that we remain friends and respectful during the whole thing and afterwards too. And that's part of the process. And I would never ask someone not to run, or never discourage anybody from running, whether they're in our party or another party.
Right.
But the thing about it is, you got to remember, at the end of the day, we're all still in the same community. And I see you in the grocery store. I see your wife in the grocery store. I mean, we see you at downtown Bluffton. We're all in this together.
That's right.
And I think we both had great attitudes with that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, moving on. One thing, Bill, that when I look at the delegation, and I told all of your colleagues this, and I mean this, if I mean anything, I mean this. The one thing, when I think of you all, the word experience comes to mind. Experience matters. Would you agree with me that now is not the time to replace experience with inexperience, with an unproven track record or no track record, because we are at a position with influence in Columbia that we haven't seen here in decades.
Right.
And now is not the time to go backwards.
No, I think you're right. I mean, first of all, you hear a lot of rhetoric from different candidates on what they're going to do. If we could just have a rule that says how are you going to do it, I think that would cut a lot of that out.
Yeah.
But I've heard a lot from a lot of folks on what they want to do or what they're going to do, and it ain't going to happen. We've got a collective about 50 years experience up at the State House right now. We've got the strongest delegation in the state. We've got more chairmen of major committees than any two or three other counties combined. And that means a lot. I mean, in politics, the ability to stay and the ability to pick up power as you're going up, and the power is not narcissistic. This isn't power about us. This is power for everybody in our community. And what they're doing, and they're trusting us to go up there and do the absolute best we can. And with the team we've got up there now, we've got with Jeff and Shannon, Tom, Weston, Chip. I mean, it is just it's unprecedented right now. And I don't think there's ever been that many in the history of the legislature in South Carolina to have this many standing chairmen from one area. So
I agree.
It's incredible. I mean, everything from USCB to technical colleges, to the roads, to the the jobs, the parks and recreation and tourism. Let's face it, we're a performing asset. Beaufort and Jasper counties are performing assets, and you've got to feed an asset. Otherwise, it's going to wither. Right. We've been able to handle that, particularly in the past about 6 or 8 years.
One of the things people may not know about is how this works as far as, well, okay, I hear you, but what did you do? What do I not know about? And case in point is USCB, as you just mentioned.
Yeah.
I remember back when I was on county council, as the liaison to the Higher Education Commission, and I'd sit in those meetings, and they would, need 20 million for this, 40 for that, whatever. And, the comments were, well, the state or the delegation can only do this. And they would look at county council, which, some TIF districts we did and things like that. Mm-hmm. Now you all have gone to the table and fully funded USCB. And I think is the latest thing, is it the Convocation Center or something like that?
Yeah. What we've been able to do is we've been able to prove or been able to force the state to recognize our students as being just as worthy and just as valuable as any other student in the entire state. And that wasn't always that way. And Mike, you guys did a yeoman's job on bringing the university in and taking it to a 4-year. But now what we're doing is we're kind of finishing the job on that. Yeah. The Convocation Center, there's a Convocation Center at just about every branch of the University of South Carolina, mm-hmm. except for this one. Mm-hmm. This Convocation Center will again bring in more money, give our local folks here, a better venue to go, better venues to go to. And it's worth it. I mean, it's worth it to do. We're sending the money to Columbia, and that money just needs to be brought back here to enhance the areas and enhance the investment.
Absolutely. And some of the other things that, again, folks, Beaufort and Jasper counties, we have this ability now because of the experience of the delegation and their influence, their sphere of influence. I spoke, Bill, to, I don't know if it was you or Shannon or Tom or Jeff or maybe Weston, or I don't know, maybe all of you. I don't remember. But there are things now that, citizens can say, hey, what about this? Such as, I spoke to one of y'all about the possibility of putting electrical lines underground.
Yeah.
Specifically like May River Road, Pritchardville, et cetera. You and I have had conversations about 911 operators and dispatchers being afforded the same things that first responders,
as they should, right?
They're like the first responder,
right?
There's one that I have a letter ready to go after Election Day that some folks in the school system that are professionals, degreed, master, or doctorate, that aren't teachers but weren't part of the pay increase that you guys did a great job on, but they need to be brought up. So my point with all this is, folks in Beaufort and Jasper counties now have a big time sounding board that we can bring these ideas or questions, and you all can do something with them.
That's right. And again, Mike, we're all in this together. I mean, all the residents of Beaufort and Jasper County, and we've been able to make a big difference. I mean, if you look at it, our delegation was behind resource officers in every school. So now it's statewide. We were behind a bigger rainy day fund, and now we have it here. We've also been able to create a fund to where matching dollars for federal highways. Some states can't come up with the matching dollars, so they lose that. But what we've done is we've got a fund that we can take to that federal government and say, hey, we've got the matching dollars for this fund. Let's take it to South Carolina, and we've been successful with that. So yeah, and a lot of that has come from this. A lot of this has come from this delegation. I mean, with Weston being chair of Judiciary, yeah, and Tom being chair of LCI on the Senate side, I think you're going to see more of that too.
How much? Last couple of questions. How much do you think that Jeff Bradley is the new chair of the AI and cybersecurity, I think they call it? How much do you think that with you being an LCI, will you, the two of you, be able or need to work together, mesh? Are there things that both of those committees, it seems like there would be, but have you thought about that at all?
Yeah, I have thought about it. I'm not exactly sure where it's going to go, but I can tell you this: with the working relationship we have as delegation members, wherever it goes, it's going to go smoother. But one thing I can tell you is with me being an LCI and Tom being an LCI, one of our biggest complaints down here is on the coast is the insurance rates. Well, insurance is covered by Tom in his committee and mine in my committee. So we'll be at the table with the with the insurance companies, the insurance commissioners, to try and figure out exactly where exactly what we can do to lower these rates and get better value.
Speaking of insurance, and folks, I don't share questions with my host, but it was going to be about insurance. I understand, and maybe if you can't answer this, that's fine. But I understand as of late that Humana, when it comes to Medicare, Medicaid, Humana, the MUSC system and Humana have separated, basically because Humana didn't pay their bills, is the way I understand it. But that affects a lot of people. Is that something, that kind of insurance problem, that can come to the House LCI or the Senate LCI, or does that go somewhere else?
That'll come to the LCI, and it'll also go to Ways and Means, because there's got to be a way to make that funding up. When I was on, and I still am on Ways and Means, my subcommittee was Health and Human Services, which covered that.
Okay.
Also covered Medicaid and MUSC and the hospital systems and all that. So yeah, we kind of saw that coming a little bit. I really can't comment on the Humana part of it, but right. Yeah, but I can tell you this, that we're working diligently to backfill where we need to on that.
Awesome. All right. 15-second elevator speech, so to speak. If somebody, and God forbid what they're thinking, but if somebody is on the fence and they're like, you know what, I just got to have that one little morsel, that one crumb to push me over the edge, what would you say to them right now?
I would say, look at lifetime experience, look at local experience, and look at professional experience, and the experience from the House and the experience that the delegation has. I think it's and also the fact that we're accessible. We're not afraid to go to a debate. Any of us. I think the communication with the county council, as you know, the county council with the local governments, the towns and the municipalities has been excellent. I think we just keep that. We're in the right direction. I think we need to keep going that way.
Any events coming? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, and that's all, not because so much of the delegation, it's because the people who put us there. And so, we get every time we go to a speaking engagement or something, it's a kind of a us thing, not it's kind of with everybody there. It's all inclusive.
Outstanding. Any events coming up? You got like 9 or 8 days left. Anything coming up, the last push that you guys are going to have, or your campaign's going to have?
Just some small meet and greets. I mean, I think between us, on our side, we've probably been to 40 of those or 50 of those in the past 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But just that, and then we have what's called a fundraiser over in at the Hayward House on this Friday night coming up. So we'll always get a lot of people. Weston and I usually do that every other year anyhow, but Tom's involved in it this year. Okay. Tom Davis, and so it'll be fun. It'll be a good time.
Teresa and I will be there.
Well, I hope you are.
We're going to be there. All right, my friend. It is a pleasure seeing you. You're always welcome on this show. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not voted, and you need to get out and vote, when you get to that 118 House district, this is the guy you want to check. Herbkersman for House. Thank you so much, Bill.
Thanks, Mike. Take care.
All right. All right. 118. And again, early voting is underway, and I think that ends I don't know, anytime now. I'm not sure. But you need to go do it. Vote now if you have time. If you can't, then you got to get out on the 5th and get out there and vote. Don't rest on your laurels. This was on major media the other night. They were talking about because the national polls have started to turn where the Republican side of tickets is looking more and more promising. They're worried that people were going to say, I'm not going to stand in line. Don't fall for that. Don't fall for that. Get out there, do your duty. Yeah, it may take you an hour. It may take 10 minutes. I don't know. But whatever you do, go and do it. All right. Let's take one final time out as we hear from the folks F1 Mechanical and the F1 Mechanical Election Night Show. Do you know if your home's heating and cooling system is working properly, safely, and efficiently? Call F1 Mechanical in Hilton Head, Bluffton, and Beaufort, South Carolina, as well as Greater Charlotte, North Carolina, for immediate service or inspection. Don't wait weeks. Call 843-284-9156. 284-9156 today. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's F1 Mechanical, 843-284-9156. Call now, and all customers with gas furnaces will get a free combustion air test. All right, that's going to come up on Tuesday the 5th. And don't forget, any businesses that are out there, you got to really get on it. If you want to get see up here in the top corner of your screen, that F1 Mechanical sign. Here, let me change that. And we'll put, whoops, not that one, Mike. Not that one. Let's put up here. We can change it. MXM Productions. Or how about this one? The Palmetto Woodworker. These are all folks, McIntyre Family Chiropractic. These are all folks that are promoting and advertising that night. You're going to see these switch off and on and off. And I won't be that quick, but it's going to be as we go along throughout the night. If you want to get your business on here, it's only $50. $50 and a logo, obviously your name. It's going to go on the screen all night long during the show. We're also going to have an ad that will start. It's a 30-second ad on the radio, bigpatriotradio.com. On election day, that'll run all day long. Give us a holler, bigpatriotradio@gmail.com. Again, if you need to look that up, that's bigpatriotradio@gmail.com, bigpatriotradio@gmail.com. Let us know that you're interested. We'll get we'll get the payment later. We'll get your logo and all that good stuff and get you going. All right. Again, Halloween night is this Thursday. We won't be on here, but we're going to replay this show in between the Halloween sounds of 2024. We're also going to play it on Tuesday night. That's right. You're going to see it when you hear me talking about it. It'll be Tuesday. Magic. Going to be at 7:00. So until then, this is the BigPatriotRadio.com network. I'm Mike Covert for the House of Cards, and we appreciate each and every one of you. We will see you again real soon, and until then, be sure to look out what's around you and watch your step. Good night, everybody.